Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Garden of Sports Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Jake Gardner, alongside my co-host, Zach.
What's up, everybody?
And we're back this week to give you a recap of Week 2, and we'll go give you a prep for Week 3 with players to grab, trades to make, go over some important, fantasy-relevant injuries, and, of course, we'll go over surprises of the week.
Let's do it.
All right, surprises.
A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have a couple less this week than last week. I had like 4 last week, but Tua Tagovailoa, I'm not ready to done him the king, but 469 yards, 6 touchdowns, 38.86 fantasy points, 36 for 50. That was insane. That was an insane game against Baltimore. Lamar Jackson also went crazy. And
yeah.
I don't know, man. That was amazing. What do you think?
Yeah, it was insane, man. I thought that they would be good. I didn't know if it would be like week 2 they would be doing stuff like that. I was very impressed.
Yeah, if you drafted him as your second QB, I mean, or, deeper league, if that's your first QB, you might be set and you got like a steal.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Second surprise for me, Christian Kirk, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns, 22.8 fantasy points. He has done really good in 2 weeks in a row. This was a guy who, in the offseason, he was paid a good amount of money, and everybody thought he was way overvalued, and I think he's proving he is worth the contract for Jacksonville.
I would agree. He's looking a lot better than I thought that he might this year. He's looking very good.
Same. I was not necessarily targeting him. Like, if he fell my way, I would grab him in a draft, but did not think he would be wide out 5 after week 1 and then have an even better week 2. I mean, he's going to maintain top 5 status here. So,
definitely.
That's a steal. And Zach, what are your surprises?
Oh, well, I got mainly one surprise this week. It's a very deep league player. A lot of people probably still don't know about this guy, but okay. I was watching this game and I was hearing his name very often, and it's a guy I'd never heard of. And I'm always interested in stuff like that because I know most players in the league. I do. This is our second year doing a fantasy football podcast, so I feel like Jake and I know most players. If not, everybody fantasy relevant. And this guy, I did some digging on, and I learned about him this week. Had a great week, and he's having a great year so far. Greg Dortch, wide receiver on the Arizona Cardinals. This is 2 weeks in a row now. He's getting lots of targets and receptions. He did catch a nice touchdown this week. It was a good throw, good catch from Kyler Murray. He's looking like a favorite target of Kyler Murray right now. I think he might be worth a sneaky grab for the next few weeks until DeAndre Hopkins comes back. But in week 1, he had 9 targets, 7 receptions for 63 yards. And then just yesterday, this week 2, 4 targets, 4 receptions, 55 yards and a touchdown. Solid flex play right now, I think, and only 2% owned. And it's looking like 2 weeks in a row. Nice little target for Kyler Murray. Definitely was helped them come back too. Caught some big catches like in the fourth quarter when they were coming back to win the game. So looking like a nice little
that
sneaky. That
was an insane end of the game.
Yeah, sneaky wide receiver, ad. I kind of like this guy.
Would you grab him in a 10 team?
I might grab him for the bench in a 10 team.
He's doing really 12 team and up. Then I'm just getting your.
Yeah, I think if you're in a 12 team and up, I think you should grab him for a nice little flex play. I think he is worthy of a consideration.
Yeah, one thing to say is that Moore hasn't played yet. He has missed the first 2 weeks, and then he might just be a couple week play because they also have the guy coming off the suspension, right?
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins. So they're going to be getting
back.
They're going to be getting those 2 guys back. But Dortch, until those guys come back, I think he's a play.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's building some chemistry, so maybe even when those guys do come back, Kyler Murray is going to start, maybe he trusts Dortch already. Who
Yeah,
knows?
he's definitely got a couple more weeks because I thought Moore was going to be back sooner, but he could be out a few more weeks, but we'll avoid the IR is what it says on ESPN.com. So yeah,
but
you have a couple weeks here to stream this guy at least.
Yeah, just when you're going in trying to set up your lineups for this next week, consider Greg Dortch. Might be a nice little move for you.
Yeah, dang. All right, let's move on to major fantasy relevant injuries. My leg! Wow, fitting for Trey Lance out for season, broken ankle. It's just, that's crazy because you drafted him as maybe your first QB in a deep league, second QB. You're hoping for a breakout year. I mean, that's what everybody was talking about. And out week 2, he didn't really get a chance to showcase himself at all because week 1 was the heavy rain in Chicago. So that's pretty crazy. We'll never get to see him until next year, like 3 years after he was drafted. Or?
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I didn't watch the beginning of the game, so I don't know like how Trey Lance looked. But I know that they did score some points while he was in there. So I don't know if he was like getting into a groove or something when that injury happened. But yeah, couldn't have come at a worse time when there's already like
the second play.
Oh, was it really early? Okay.
It was. I mean, he was 2 for 3, 30 yards. So I think they just started.
Oh gosh, that sucks.
Yeah, man. So we won't get to see him until next year, but
that's unfortunate.
late second QB for you next year. But we'll go over QBs for you to grab his replacement. James Garner exited game early with an ankle injury. So running backs we're always going to cover probably in this section because it is the hardest section to fill, and you need to grab handcuffs usually, or their handcuffs when they're injured.
And what a surprise, James Conner with an ankle injury.
Are they usually ankle injuries?
He's always got an ankle injury, man, every year.
Okay, I heard it wasn't that serious after I typed this out, so we'll see. Yeah, it says he isn't believed to have suffered a severe injury, but that doesn't mean he won't miss a week. So we're going to have to keep close tabs on that. Judy left game with a rib injury. Originally, it was believed to be a shoulder. They corrected it to a rib injury. So I don't know what's up with all these guys getting rib injuries in the beginning of the year, but this is kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of
different
sucks.
type of padding or something.
Maybe I don't know, or maybe he just a lot of times receivers they catch and they'll land on the ball, and that'll get receivers a rib injury. Pretty common.
Hopefully he doesn't go and see the Chargers doctor.
Yeah. Hopefully not. He'll he doesn't want to retire next week, so hopefully he can.
Tyrod retire?
No, I don't know about that, but that would be really unfortunate if he sees that doctor. Yeah.
Yeah, for real. Now Tyrod is on the Giants, so
okay,
he's back up, I guess. And then Dalton Schultz, knee injured late in the 4th. He got an MRI today. I heard it was a ligament injury. I have to look again on the report, but yeah,
so he twisted his knee, kind of thing.
Yeah, we're not. He's going to be out for at least a couple weeks, not more.
Yeah, definitely. And then when he comes back,
PCL injury.
Okay, yeah, it's going to be swelling, and he's not going to have full range of motion. He'll be playing if he comes back to play, which would be. It's going to be hurting him. It's going to be bothering him the rest of the season. So he's going to have to play with a knee brace, most likely. I mean, I'm pretty familiar with knee stuff, so hopefully. He's definitely going to be playing with the brace if he comes back to play, which I'm sure he probably will. Most football players will play through stuff.
Season's lost though, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming he'll probably come back. He'll definitely be in a brace. That's we'll see how serious it is though. I'm not sure a PCL is season ending, but
yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah.
And Mike Evans suspended one game. He went over and defended Tom Brady. I'm sure everybody's seen that highlight, but
yeah,
still fantasy relevant to where he's going to miss a whole week, and maybe you can get a Tampa Bay wide receiver. I don't know. I mean, they are kind of stacked there, but What do you think, Zach?
Or maybe it's Dortch time if you're got Evans suspended. Now
Big
you go pick
Dortch
up
guy.
Now you go pick up Dortch. It's Dortch time.
All right. Well, let's break into top grabs.
Hell yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I wanted to go over the QB situation first, since you might be a guy that's still lost Dak Prescott and you didn't get Carson Wentz in the waiver ads, and then you now could have lost Trey Lance as one of your main QBs. So some of the QBs that I think are appetizing, Zach, you can add anybody here, but I put Jared Goff, 256 yards, 4 touchdowns, 26 fantasy points. Trevor Lawrence, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, 18.5 fantasy points. Jimmy Garoppolo, 154 yards, 1 touchdown. Back. Yeah, Jimmy G, Mr. Suave.
Getting me excited over there. All these quarterback numbers.
Oh my gosh, who would you be your preferred grab?
So my favorite, I would rank them in order of. I would go Goff would be the one I'd put a claim in for, and then I would try and get Garoppolo or Lawrence after that. But Goff number 1, Garoppolo 2, Lawrence 3.
Okay, what do you got against the flow? Lawrence.
Nothing. I just feel like out of these 3,
Garoppolo's got great weapons. But...
yeah, out of those 3, Lawrence, the team's a little bit worse, So, but Goff would be my number 1 because the Lions are turning out to be who you and me might kind of thought they might be, Jake. A good team this year.
They are who we thought they were.
They are who we thought they were.
We need that soundbite.
Yeah, we need to get that. Let him off the hook.
Yeah,
but Jared Goff, man, I'd be pretty excited about that. I just picked up Carson Wentz as in my league that I lost Dak Prescott in.
Yeah,
so I'm going to leave him as my number 1, but I might drop Matt Ryan and pick up Jared Goff as my number 2.
Yeah, I like that.
And I'd be going with that'd be funny having Wentz and Goff on my team, the number 1 and 2 picks in that draft.
Carson Wentz was going to be higher owned, but he's only 56.7 on ESPN. So
yeah.
I was talking about him like he was already probably gone from your league, if you're listening. But
he's not. You can still
get
too.
Wentz. So Wentz is the top.
I shouldn't have even put a claim in for him last week, dude. I was like last in the waiver claims in the league that I put the claim in for him, and I got him.
Okay.
No, I didn't need to put the claim in. But yeah. I don't think anybody was really believing in him just last week. Mm-hmm. But the only reason I did was because I lost Prescott and I needed a body,
Yeah, true.
And Matt Ryan may not be the big sleeper quarterback like I thought he might.
Well, he was missing Michael Pittman last minute, right?
Oh.
So they probably had a game plan with Pittman and it all changed. I mean, he should adjust still, but yeah, they flopped. I mean, the whole team did. Even Jonathan Taylor was bad.
Yeah.
If you had Jonathan Taylor, you probably lost your week. I mean, unless you just had a deep team. But yeah, let's move on. So it would go Wentz, Goff. I'd go Lawrence, I think, because his wideouts are turning out to be better than we thought. Like we just talked about Christian Kirk. But Garoppolo's still pretty close to Lawrence for me. It's just
I would go Garoppolo.
Have a better fantasy season this year.
I'd go Garoppolo over Lawrence just because, Debo, Brandon Ayuk, and then possibly Kittle at some point too,
Yeah, Kittle will be back next week.
Yeah.
He had a groin injury. In the first week, it was pouring down rain in Chicago. And in the second week, he was he's pretty close to playing, but it was also a bad weather forecast, and they're not going to have him out 6 weeks, slipping on the field. So
right.
I think he'll be back week 3. Yeah, my professional medical expertise there for you. Get the jab. So
yeah.
Then let's go over the rest of the top grabs. So we have a lot of wideouts here because that's really the best options to grab right now, the most value. Guys who are taking over the number 2 spot possibly on their teams at wideout, and running back is really weak, so we'll get to that as well. So first off the board, Nelson Aguilar, 110 yards, 1 touchdown, 17 fantasy points. Zach, is this for real?
I mean, I think so. I think he might be showing that he's got some chemistry with Mac Jones. I mean, I don't know. He had a really good game. I think that it is, if you're really hurting for a wide receiver, you think he might be the guy to grab. But there's a lot of, grabbable guys that did good this week, but I don't know. For some reason, I'm intrigued by him.
Yeah, because he's could be taking over the number one spot, right? I mean, he was there last year, right?
It's up for grabs, that number one spot. I mean, it
never was really claimed.
Yeah. So I think it might be for real. I think it might be worth a little pickup,
Yeah, 0.6% owned. It's just, we'll rank these wideouts, how about at the end, because maybe you don't believe in the Patriots if you're listening. Next up, Noah Brown, 91 yards, 1 touchdown, 15.1 fantasy points. Filling in, I'm going to play that after every player? Jeez. I mean, they needed a number 2 to step up because Gallup's not back yet, and he did really good, dude. They won the game. I mean,
yeah, he did. He did look good.
Do you like Noah Brown? Have you?
I think so, because if they keep Cooper Rush in there, I think the reason that he looked good is because they've been on the practice squad together previously in the past. Noah Brown and Cooper Rush, I believe, were on the Cowboys practice squad last year. Mm-hmm. So I think they do have chemistry together. So I feel like that adds up. Why he had a good game. And I think if there was some Galaxy Brain people out there, some people Galaxy Brain picked up Noah Brown, with that in mind.
0.2%.
Not sure anybody did, but there's probably some crazy Cowboys fan that did.
Yeah, true.
Nice big plays. Those are winning plays right there.
Yes, sir. Next up, Corey Davis, 83 yards, 1 touchdown, 14.3 fantasy points.
Yeah, and Corey Davis doing Corey Davis things.
Is there clear cut number 2? Is he not, or is it kind of more of a 3 split?
I mean, I feel like
he's had 2 good weeks in a row. I
feel like he's number 1 or 2. Yeah,
I know, but this isn't the rookie that they've been hyping up. So, they're trying to get the second year player more involved.
Yeah, Corey Davis is reliable, though. I don't know. I feel like he's showing that he can be pretty reliable, and I think he's a favorite target of Flacco. Ooh, let's talk about a fucking game, Flacco.
Okay, yeah, for real. And then 3 wideouts went over 100 yards?
Yeah.
I believe maybe it's just them together. With Davis, Elijah Moore, and Garrett Wilson, who topped 100 yards and 2 touchdowns together. Okay, so they're just combining. Yeah, but he got 83 of them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, I guess it is kind of a three-way, but still noticeable numbers over the first 2 weeks, and you can grab this guy, We're trying to go over guys who are actually available in your league, not just 60% owned or higher players.
Yeah.
First running back here, Daryl Williams, 59 yards, 8 carries, 1 touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you like this guy a lot, Zach?
I think he's okay. Daryl Williams, I
think it's important because James Conner could be out next week.
Yeah, I don't like the 8 carries so much, but if he's going to be in as the main running back now because Conner's going to be out, I think that might be a nice little sneaky grab.
Yeah, I think if you're weak at running back right now, I think this is a guy that you need to grab. And not that you hope James Conner just stays hurt, but this would be the stream because not a lot of running backs got hurt this past week. So
yeah.
If you need a streaming option. Joshua Palmer, 30 yards, 4 receptions, 1 touchdown. This is a guy I was kind of high on as a sleeper coming into the season, and he's the number 2 wideout right now with the injury to Keaton Allen. So, yeah, he proved it. So for week 1, Keaton Allen did play, and this week, obviously not. And he had a good game. I think he's streamable. Maybe not on a 10 team. This might be more 12 team and up right now, or at least hold on your bench. But he's got some upside.
I think so too. You were talking about that this offseason. I like Joshua Palmer. So
yeah. And then some guy just in our family league, our cousin just randomly takes him. He doesn't know anything about him. Like, God, it's gonna be like my last pick.
Yeah.
What a guy. That's hilarious. But okay, and then I wanted to go over 2 tight ends because we're trying to always cover that position.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get your opinion, Zach, on these 2 guys, Gerald Everett or Tyler Higby. So say, you haven't had Kittle for 2 weeks. You've had to stream some players, or you still need to. You don't know if Kittle's coming back. Everett has had 2 good weeks in a row this week, 6 receptions, 71 yards. And then Tyler Higby is the starter for the Rams, 7 receptions, 71 yards. But who's going to use the tight end more? Like, who do you like more?
Man, I'm not a biggest fan of both of those guys.
Oh,
but
okay. Do you like any other tight ends then?
I think I like Everett because I feel like he is. I think I might go Everett over Higby. Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't think the tight end in those 2 offenses is the biggest. Is like they use it as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like Higby's hit or miss, but Everett. First 2 games, first game 54 yards and a touchdown.
They definitely seem to be using him more than Higby.
Yeah. Second game 71 yards. So
I might go Everett.
Targets.
I think I'd go Everett first.
If you got to fill in, he was the number 4 after week 1. I think with 10 fantasy points this week, he could maintain top 5 tight end status,
which is pretty crazy. But yeah, if that's true, I think people will be picking him up for sure.
Mm-hmm. Any other tight ends come to mind if you're not a fan? Like if anybody listening isn't a fan like you?
Well, he hasn't really gone off yet, but if you're looking for like a backup tight end or something, somebody to keep on your bench, Will Dissly seems to be the favorite tight end on Seattle right now over Noah Fant. He's getting lots of targets, and he scored a touchdown last week. Will Dissly, so maybe I think he's a deep sleeper tight end. And then I want to believe in Cole Kmet, man. He did travel with the team to Green Bay, right? I didn't notice him out there.
Mooney and him are both barely being targeted by QB who supposedly loves them, so I don't know what's going on, man. I know
it's weird.
San Francisco is supposed to be a top 5 defense this year, and I know Green Bay is supposed to be like a top 8 defense this year, but maybe he's still figuring it out. I don't know, man.
Yeah, but even if they're a top defense, that doesn't mean that those guys should just be. That makes sense. They're completely neutralized then. Okay, anytime you face a decent defense, it's fucking bullshit. Let's get this QB going, huh? What's going on, Fields? Come on.
I don't know. He looked. Sometimes watching the game, he looks dazed and confused, and I'm just.
Yeah, he does.
That play where he was running and then he threw it after he already ran 5 yards past the line. That was cringe.
Yeah, a lot of times when they show him when he's under center about to hike it, they get the frontal camera, on his face. He looks like a deer in headlights sometimes. He's young still,
O-line's not helping, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
He's also Bears not using his wheels correct. Like
I think that's coaching.
He's doing quick turns and he can move really fast, but he's like, I've seen him stop several times and just take a sack, and I'm like, you're too fast for that. And then I don't know but he's slipping too. He's like slipping on the field. Like he's trying to make a cut and he's slipping. I don't know.
He tries to do it all out there. I think he gets in his head, Yeah, I don't know.
Still got some jitters to figure out. Anyway, I digress. Let's go
Bears
on.
fans.
Jahan Dotson. I wanted to talk about him one more time. He is higher owned already. We talked about him last week, but if there's any chance he's still available in your league, you got to go grab him because 4 receptions, 59 yards, and a touchdown. And the team, like we've said, it looks legit at this point. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I liked Jahan Dotson last week. Feel like he is definitely a guy who needs to be picked up. Him and Curtis Samuel, they're getting a lot of usage.
Yeah, Curtis Samuel's already up to 67.6% owned. Jahan Dotson 60.7%. So I was thinking,
still pick up Dotson. I think both of them. Wentz likes to spread the ball around.
Man, they're all eating. Terry McLaurin's doing good too.
I like Dotson. I think he definitely should be picked up. I think out of all these receivers, I like Dotson and Nelson Aguilar as my top guys.
Okay, yeah, Dotson's going to be harder to get. I just wanted to talk about him one more time before he's up to 80%, you know?
Right.
And then this is the big section I wanted to hit on, because listeners are, if you're listening to a fantasy football podcast, you're struggling for players, you're dealing with injuries, and right now the running back department is vacant. I mean, there's not a lot to grab. We went over Daryl Williams as a possible stream, but I also wanted to go over what you could do if you're in the situation where you need a running back and there's no starters available. So it's either grab some handcuff running backs or make a big trade. So I wanted to go over these handcuff players.
Yeah.
Garrick McKinnon, 4 carries, 12 yards, 2 receptions, and then 4-yard reception for a TD. He actually outsnapped Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the contest, 27-25. This resulted still in 6 fewer touches. Either way, he cemented himself as in the committee approach for Kansas City, and he could continue to take over more. How do you feel about McKinnon, Zach?
I like Garrick McKinnon. I've always been like a fan of him as like a guy to have on your bench, you know. I think it's something to watch for sure. Because I'm not the biggest. I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but I'm not.
Same.
You know, I'm not so sure because most of Edwards-Hilaire's yards that he looked good, but most of his yards came on one big run in like the third or fourth quarter. He had like a 50-yard run.
Okay.
And he had finished the day with like 75 yards or something. So he was like doing nothing before that run. I mean, besides getting some targets in the passing game, so that was making him have a decent night. But then he had a pretty good night with that 50-yard run at the fourth quarter. You know, he still leaves a little bit to be desired, I think. So it's definitely not far and away Edwards-Hilaire's job. I could see him losing it at some point because McKinnon is pretty consistent, you know, out there, and they had him out there quite a bit. McKinnon, they do like him for sure, so that's something to note.
Definitely. And next up, Jamal Williams, 12 carries, 53 yards, 1 reception, 7 yards. Last week he had 2 running touchdowns. I kind of see him as a Tony Pollard type in this, but the Lions offense is actually good. Do you know what I mean?
They really, the Lions love Jamal Williams. They're going to have him out there, get his stuff. But, I mean, they obviously love Deandre Swift as well.
Swift's a beast.
And I think this might be a thing where, because both of them can catch passes, I think they have both of them out there a lot, which I like, that 2 running back stuff. And so I don't know. I think Williams is a really good one to pick up. I do like Jamal Williams.
Yeah, he looks great, man. JD Mckissick, I know we've talked about him for a couple of years now. But
he's another one that I really like. He's always a good handcuff player.
He's got 3 carries, 9 yards, and then 7 receptions for 54 yards this past week. And this is another surprise offense with Washington that's doing really well. And as long as it's doing well, all these players are going to eat. And he's a great handcuff. And Gibson has gotten hurt every year, hasn't he?
Yeah. He definitely does. Gibson's an injury-prone guy, but you know what? At the same token, so is J.D. Mckissick. They're both injury-prone guys. We're seeing now that they can kind of coexist, which is kind of nice. I don't think they've ever really had multiple games where they have both been healthy, and you know, I think, I don't know. This is intriguing. I think both can be owned and both can be fantasy relevant. A lot of teams are getting to this now where they have multiple running backs.
Yeah,
everybody wants to do what Cleveland's doing, which is very hard to replicate, but everybody's trying to do that now.
In
San Francisco too. San Francisco likes to have like 3 or 4 different running backs, and they just were like, okay, this drives yours, next drives, you know, the other guys. They do that. San Francisco does that so much to change it up, you know, keep the defense guessing.
Yeah. And then the 4th handcuff I had here. Well, actually, there's a 5th. I thought he was more owned, but the 4th is Dontrell Hilliard, who we talked about last week. He had 2 passing touchdowns for Tennessee. He's out this today on Monday. How do you feel about Hilliard?
I'm still a Hilliard guy. Because he's more of a receiving back, so I think he'll coexist fine with Henry. I don't think he's going to be taking any carries away from Derrick Henry.
Okay. And then the 5th is, of course, Alexander Madison. I thought he was like 60% owned, but he's only 40% in ESPN leagues. And he's always been kind of a great handcuff because Cook can get injured any time. How do you feel about Madison, Zach? I think we know what he is at this point, but...
we know what he is. He's a guy that you're not. He's not a receiving guy. He's a guy that you'll want. You're not going to start him unless Cook's not playing. You know what I mean? He's a guy that's going to hold. You're going to hold on your bench, hoping for a Dalvin Cook injury.
Yeah, well, that's what we're going over. But yeah.
So I like him, but I just don't think. I think some of these other guys, like Jamal Williams, J.D. Mckissick, Dontrell Hilliard, I think these are guys that you can still possibly play as like a flex or something. Right now, I don't think you can do that with Madison. That's all I was saying.
Yep.
And the same thing with these next couple guys. I feel like these next 3, starting with Madison, and then these next 2 we're going to talk about. These are all guys that if you have a really good deep team you're happy about, and you have a spot to burn on your bench just in case of injuries, these are 3 guys maybe you consider just to grab and hold on your bench, waiting for their opportunistic time to play them. So next, after Madison, I got Khalil Herbert. Bears backup running back. I think he's a nice handcuff. Something happens to Montgomery.
Well, the offense has to be able to move for him to be a good handcuff.
Well, yeah, I just want to mention his name because he is a talented back that a lot of people still like.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, for sure.
And if he was the starter one week, I think you'd want to pick him up for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then also my last little handcuff guy I wanted to mention, Mark Ingram. I know he got the start yesterday. I don't know. I feel like he's a nice if Kamara's going to miss some time, Mark Ingram's a guy you might want to pick up. He's going to be getting all the carries, and he's proven to be a good back over his career.
Yeah, I was hoping he was going to be our LeGarrette Blount player, but he didn't. I don't think he scored this week.
Roll another blunt.
But yeah, he didn't score. I mean, overall, New Orleans didn't look so great this last week.
No.
But he did, they were trying to get him the ball. They were just getting stopped. Winston wasn't on. So he wasn't able to do too much. They weren't going on, full on run game. They were still trying to air it out. Mm-hmm. And they were still able to get Michael Thomas another touchdown. But Mark Ingram wasn't like the focal point of the offense for sure.
For sure. So how would you rank these 7
running
guys?
Backs?
Yeah, how would you rank them? Just go ahead.
Man,
7
I
up.
think okay. So 7, I think Khalil
Off the
Herbert.
cuff. Okay.
7, Khalil Herbert. 6, Alexander Madison. 5, Mark Ingram. 4. Oh man, this is tough.
Come on, you got it.
Okay, 4. Jesus. 4, Dontrell Hilliard, just because he's missing this week. So,
okay.
And then 3, Jamal Williams. 2, J.D. Mckissick. 1, Garrick McKinnon. So.
Oh dang. Okay. Yeah, the most upside is definitely McKinnon. That would be the reason you grab him. But the most reliable, I would go 7, Mark Ingram. 6, Khalil Herbert. 5 is Hilliard for me. 4, Alexander Madison. 3, who didn't I hit here? 3, I would go Mckissick. 2, McKinnon. 1, Jamal Williams. I just like Williams' usage. I think he'd be more reliable week to week if you had to throw somebody in, like, due to injuries on your team.
Yeah, I mean, with the 12 carries, that's what I was looking at, too. I mean, that's still a lot for a backup,
Yeah. Let's go ahead.
If Detroit's going to be running the ball like that, look out, dude. That's going to make Goff that much better.
Well, let's see how high ranked their offense is, because that's like 36 points 2 weeks in a row.
Like, dare I say Detroit not only looks good on offense, dare I say they look dangerous, Jake? I mean...
Yeah, they just have no defense. Well, they got that rookie D lineman. He looks good.
He had 3 sacks. I mean, Hutchinson, you know?
Holy crap, did he really?
He did, yeah.
Dude's a beast. I mean, I know they were hyping him up in the show, but dang.
Yeah. He came to play yesterday for sure. He was looking
awesome.
like TJ Watt out there.
Man, if the Bears are just going to be crap, I'm kind of rooting for the Lions, I'm not going to lie.
I think I am too, dude. I love the coach, and I like how the team, absolutely everyone on all 53 guys love that coach too. I think that's a cool thing when you have everybody buying in like that, you know? You never know what those teams can do. They can usually, everybody buys in and they just focus on that. And I think that coach, there's a good energy and aura around that whole team right now, and you can do stuff with the good energy and positive vibes and all that, you know?
It's good energy in the gym. We need that as a soundbite from Dodgeball.
Definitely need to get that. Oh my gosh.
It's good energy in the gym.
And then real quick before we move on here, Jake, I just wanted to mention too, Gabe Davis was ruled out right before we started the podcast, ruled out for tonight's game, the number 2 receiver on the Bills.
Oh yeah, shoot.
So, you know, maybe we can talk about, do you think Isaiah Mckenzie is worth a pickup now that he's going to be, for this game at least, getting that number 2 spot now?
Yeah,
or Jamison Crowder.
By the time this is out, I don't think anybody's going to get...
Well, you know, we got to see if Gabe Davis is going to miss, you know, next week too. You know, it still might be relevant to talk about now. You know, I think.
Okay.
Do you think Isaiah McKenzie or Jamison Crowder is worth a pickup?
I like Crowder for one game.
Yeah.
Number 2, he's had big games in the past for different teams when he fills in. I think he had a big game last year for the Jets.
Okay.
So I'd go Crowder if I had to pick, like if he was going to be out next week. But
okay, this
would be like, you don't have to use a waiver on this guy. Like, this would be a free grab midweek if you find out more about Gabe Davis.
Okay.
Do you feel differently at all, or?
No, I just wanted to mention that, I mean, those are 2 guys that you can pick up if you're a Gabe Davis owner.
Mckenzie did good last week, and he's higher owned. So I didn't. Okay, you'd probably have to go Mckenzie if he's more targeted.
Yeah, I think he just is a little bit more.
I thought Crowder was gonna be the clear-cut 3, but I'm wrong here. Okay.
So I mean, between the 2, I think I view them both pretty equally. I would just pick up whatever one is available, because maybe somebody already owns the other one, you know?
Yeah, if it came to it, but I feel like Gabe...
Yeah, you don't have to spend too much more time on it.
It's a last-second inactive, which makes me think he was close to going. And it was a last-second injury, too. It was a Saturday injury, and he still almost played, so I think he's going to be back next week.
I think he will, too. So it's just something to note, you know, maybe you could pick up Mckenzie.
Yeah,
but
let's break into trades. So, buy low candidates. We like to go buy low, sell high. How do you feel about Cam Akers, Zach? He's kind of looked like trash.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry for anybody that got swindled by rankings into drafting Cam Akers.
So you don't like him? As a buy low?
No, not a fan. I'm more of a Darrell Henderson guy who I was able to pick up off of waivers.
Okay, so you got some clear bias here.
A little bit. I mean,
You could have both.
You could. I've never been an Akers guy though. I mean, and I'm never a guy that likes to draft guys their first year back off of ACLs. I always think that you're just.
Well, didn't he come back in the playoffs last year? Or no.
He did, which was pretty insane. But so I mean, I don't know. Just I feel like they're easing him in.
They are. He did get the carries though. That's the thing. So I feel like if he could just bust out on some of these runs, he'll be. I don't know, man. He had 15 carries so the percentage isn't good. 15 carries for 44 yards, but if he could, turn that around a bit and get his legs under him, I think it's a good buy low. You could get it for cheap right now because people are talking like you, like, oh, this is trash,
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could just throw something. Like, would you throw Devin Singletary at him like a starter level, but
no, I don't think I'm trading. I'm not.
You like Singletary?
I'm not a Singletary guy either, but I like him more than Cam Akers. I mean, we're comparing one poop to another poop right now. You know, which poop do you like better?
I'm just giving an example. Gee golly.
I like this poop actually better than that poop.
Well, we're talking about a starting running back on a high octane offense. That's why it's low.
Yeah, but there's another guy that's just as talented that, you know, has done better so far in Daryl Henderson.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Like, do you believe in guys that are breaking out early? That like Curtis Samuel? Do you think he'll maintain this all year?
I think if you need, so that's something where if you need a running back, you know, I might do the Curtis Samuel thing because chances are he's like your third or fourth receiver. Yeah. So maybe I could see that as something, but I wouldn't be trading in a running back for Cam Akers because I don't know. I feel like there's probably a guy in your bench that you'd trade that, you know, Devin Singletary has just as much upside as Cam Akers, and you know, chances are at the end of the year they're both going to be about the same points wise.
All right, so I'm not a believer.
No, not so much. But if I was getting rid of like a bench receiver, like Curtis Samuel, bench receiver / possible flex, depending on what the matchup is, I might do that for Cam Akers because at least then I'm trading a similar role, but for a position that I need more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's move on then. Second running back I wanted to talk about is a possible buy low. I think it's your last chance to get Breece Hall. He had 7 carries, 50 yards, 1 reception for 10 yards and a touchdown.
Finally looking like the Breece Hall that we were all sold the bill of goods on in the offseason. Looking like we can see a pathway to him being a good player.
And it's always been said, even if you drafted him, that he might not get as many carries in the beginning of the season as he will at the end. I think this guy could be
the problem
a league
was always
winner.
The reason that I was never a big Breece Hall guy is because Michael Carter is there, and he's a very good running back as well, and he has a very similar skill set to Breece Hall.
Yeah, but they drafted Breece Hall to be the guy.
They did, but I think Michael Carter is still proven, hey, I'm here, and I was good last year, and I'm still good, guys. You know,
is he doing good?
He had a better week last week than Breece Hall. He got more carries.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. It's always been said, I think, that he would get it in the beginning, but he's just not as skilled as Breece Hall. Like Breece Hall
what? But honestly, though, if I am a Breece Hall fan, and you know what this really reminds me of, bro?
What?
This really, and I think you were hitting onto something there when you said that he'll be more beneficial toward the end of the season. I think you're absolutely right on that. This reminds me a lot of Deandre Swift's rookie year.
Did he have a big second half?
Where Deandre Swift did nothing at all the first 6-7 games of the season, and everybody was like, "Oh God, this guy's a bust." People didn't drop him, but people were not starting him, and I thought that there was a pathway for Swift because they said that they were going to start maybe giving him more snaps and everything. They were kind of easing him in, and I read an article, an obscure article, kind of saying that Swift is going to do a little better here toward the end of the season, and I was able to pull off a trade for him. And then every week, that first week that I got him, I started him in flex, and every week after I got Swift, he scored he scored 10 points every week, and he really helped me get to the championship that year. Deandre Swift, came out of nowhere and just did really good every week. So I could see something similar with Breece Hall. I think he's gonna on that Deandre Swift kind of train. So
yeah, I think if you are a guy who had maybe drafted Zeke, or you just didn't get a good enough running back core, I think this is the guy to go for. Sure, you can grab some of those handcuffs we talked about and whatnot, but a running back for the rest of the season, or even just more the last 75% of the season, I think Breece Hall's the guy. And you could get him. I don't know. I would try to first I would try to trade some of these breakout wideouts because, a lot of them don't always last the whole year. Like, there's a lot of first half wide receivers that do not perform in the second. And I would try that. And if they're not budging, because, running back is harder to get a trade done for because running back is so scarce, then you're going to have to pull out a little more for the trade. But even Kareem Hunt in the wideout, I think I would do that for Breece Hall because it's a starter level running back where Kareem will never be the 100% back, right?
Yeah, and you know what? I think I as much of a fan of Kareem Hunt as I am, I think I might, for a chance to maybe get Breece Hall, who could be that breakout guy toward the end of the season. I think I might do a similar trade like that.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that's your guy, everybody. If you need a running back, let's go into wideouts here at Buy Low. Brandon Ayuk, 2 okay first weeks, 5 receptions, 63 yards. Just before I even ask you, I like him a lot, and we know the first week was the big weather game.
I'm a fan of him too.
Andy's had a quarterback change here, but now he's back to a quarterback he knows.
Now he's back to a good quarterback that's going to get people the ball. I'm not scared with Ayuk, and if I owned him, I would not be trading him. But if I would be trying my ass to get him right now if I don't have him.
Yes. Try to get him. Don't give the farm away, but he should have a great year. Second wideout I have here, DK Metcalf. 2 low-scoring weeks in a row. Are there better days ahead? He had 4 receptions and 35 yards.
I don't think there's better days ahead.
Okay.
I feel like you saw the writing on the wall about DK Metcalf not being great because we knew going into the season that his quarterback is Geno Smith. I feel like that limits his ceiling a bit.
He might
have some weeks. He might have some weeks where he scores some touchdowns, but not. I'm not. I don't think a lot of people are expecting big things from DK Metcalf this season. And if you drafted him, with that in mind, that risk factor. So I don't know. I feel like you're on your own with that one, pal.
Though you might be able to get him for cheap if you need.
You could probably get him for cheap, but you also might be able to. You could also probably get him off waivers here in like 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Okay.
I mean, I'm serious. What the hell is Seattle doing and where are they going? I don't think he's going to be getting averaging 10 a week like he was with Russell Wilson,
Yeah, but it could start next week against Atlanta and then Detroit after that. That's 2 good weeks.
Maybe. I don't know. Not a believer.
It's really an easy schedule. He's got New Orleans has a good defense. You could say the Chargers have a decent defense, and then he has Tampa Bay. So that the next 8 weeks, he only plays 2 or 3 good defenses. So they could be higher scoring games, and DK Metcalf could get some touchdowns, which he didn't get in the first 2 weeks. That's just my take. And then the second half, they play. The only hard defenses are maybe the Rams, San Fran again, and the Rams again. So 3 in the second half. So 4 to 6 defenses left in the whole year. I don't know. You can say that about a lot of players, I guess, but I'm convincing myself, Zach.
yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I like DK Metcalf. Zach doesn't. You make your own decision.
So just go off of who's cuter. So everybody's going off of my pick.
For sure. So let's go into sell highs. Would you sell high on Tua after his huge week? Do you believe, or would you sell to a guy who's desperate?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I would sell him unless I was getting maybe I don't know. I'm not so sure if. But I don't know. I could see why that's what you put here, but because you don't not. But I don't know. I think that offense is just that good. Those receivers are studs, dude. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill.
If this is your number 2 QB, you could trade to a guy who needs a number 1, and you need a positional player, like you want
That's
extra
true.
positional.
So maybe you could, do a thing where you trade to a Tunga Vailoa for like
A flex.
a flex player, and then you pick up Jared Goff.
Like, would you trade Tua for Ayuk?
Maybe I would if Tua was my number 2. If Tua is my number 1, I am holding on to him.
Yeah, no, that's not what I'm saying.
This is with him being your number 2, like in a 10 or 12 team league.
Yeah.
I would, yeah. I think I would trade him for whatever you needed. If you're weak at running back, if you're weak at wide receiver, if, maybe you even try and trade him for Travis Kelce.
Yeah, that won't go through. But yeah,
somebody lost Dak. The Dak owner has Travis Kelce. Maybe.
Ayuk or Breece Hall.
Yeah, I mean Breece Hall or Ayuk. Those might be the guys I would trade him for.
Okay,
and then I pick up Jared Goff in waivers for my backup.
There you go.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper, 9 receptions, 101 yards, 1 touchdown, not 11. 20.6 fantasy points. Cooper of old, and it's with a not a bad quarterback, but not his starter, who he'll get a good quarterback in week 11. How do you feel?
I'm an Amari Cooper guy. He's a number 1 receiver, and he's got tons of talent, and Brissett's not an awful quarterback. There's worse quarterbacks.
No. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like, but, that in mind, I feel like I still would possibly try and upgrade from Cooper, just because I feel like there is limits with him and Brissett. But that is a great week. That is definitely a great week.
Honestly, I drafted him as a possible flex option like most people, but I also drafted him waiting for a big week like this to try and capitalize. I'm not going to lie. In the one league I have him, try to look for a team that needs a wide out, capitalize on this big week, because it was against the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Drake London, is he for real, dude? 8 receptions, 86 yards, 1 touchdown, 20.6 fantasy points. And he had a big... He had a big week 1 as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I'm a Drake London guy, yeah.
Okay, so you wouldn't trade him? That's what I wanted to figure out, because I didn't I guess I just didn't believe in Atlanta, so I didn't believe in him, but...
He's looking like he's the favorite target of Mariota, so...
Yeah, man. So you wouldn't trade him?
I don't. I wouldn't. I think I'm holding on to that because he's looking like he's. I mean, I want to talk too about what the heck's going on with Kyle Pitts, dude. We should talk about Kyle Pitts as a buy low.
God no, we talked about him as a buy low freaking 8 weeks last year, and he still sucked all year. So
He didn't suck last year though, didn't he? Wasn't he good last year?
No, dude.
Kyle Pitts.
He was the most frustrating tight end to own because you had to get him high.
But didn't he still finish as the 4th?
Oh gosh. Let's go look. I'm a little look at 2021 season.
I'm a little pissed that I drafted him in both my fantasy leagues, to be honest.
That was not your dude. Pitts. Wait, it's not showing 2021 season, even though I said 2. Okay. I can't see what he did last year, even though it says I should be able to. Well, there it is. Atlanta. Just not showing me 2021 season, even though I selected it, but I don't remember him doing that great. Maybe he had a couple big games at the end of the year, but he was a big disappointment because you had to get him is the 4th tight end off the board last year.
Uh-huh.
And then this year you had to get him, I guess, it still was kind of high. I thought I was avoiding him, but...
Okay, so you were avoiding him. I don't know. I was believing that he was going to be very good. So I kind of got swindled on that one.
Okay.
I'm trying to look at him up right here, right now.
Oh, here we go. He had 142 fantasy points last year. And he finished Whoa, dude. Yeah, he finished like 7th.
Okay, well.
So, yeah, he could be top 10, but he's just... You don't need to buy low.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to be taking trade offers with him, trying to get a tight end.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of the Pittsburgh tight end, Pat Freiermuth.
Okay, there you go.
I might try to trade for him, so we'll see.
Yeah, sorry, a little delay there in the episode. Curtis Samuel,
that's okay.
2 beast mode weeks in a row, 7 receptions, 78 yards, 1 touchdown. He's been a key grab, obviously, after week 1, but are you thinking this will last the rest of the year, or a team's going to figure out this offense in Washington? Would you trade high? Sell high, sorry.
I would not. I like what I've seen from him. He looks very good. If you watch the games, you notice him out there, dude. He looks great. I'm a fan.
Okay.
If I had him, I would want to be keeping him for sure.
Gotcha. All right. And then my last guy in sell high, will James Robinson eventually lose touches to Travis Etienne as the season progresses, or is he just gonna keep trucking?
I think he might, man. I think ETN's gonna supplant him as the guy.
Okay, so would you sell high in James Robinson then?
Yeah, I would.
I mean, he's like he finished last week as the number 6 running back, and then he had another good week, so he could potentially be in the top 5.
Yeah, I would trade Robinson.
Yeah.
All
right. So who would you be going, like maybe that for Breece Hall? Would you do that 1-for-1?
Yeah, I think I would definitely do that.
All right, that concludes trades. Because I would
too.
There we go. And then I wanted to go over Monday night bold predictions here.
Ooh, boy.
Because we're just, when we do football, it's right before Monday Night Football.
Yep.
And just wanted to have a little fun with it since we can't go over their results. So, Devin Singletary, for me, my bold prediction, Devin Singletary, 2 touchdowns, and Bills defense holds Titans to 14 points.
Okay. I can see it. I could see that. I think that's a good prediction. They're using Singletary a lot right now. And then my big prediction, I think Treylon Burks has a big game for the Titans. I think he scores 2 tutties.
Okay.
And I think he has his big breakout welcome to the NFL game tonight. And I also think in the other game that big prediction here, I think Jalen Hurts is going to have a great game tonight.
Okay.
So that's my prediction.
Yeah, I didn't pick anything from that game, but it'll be a good game.
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it. Fantasy Football Week 2 recap.
Hell yeah. And you know what? Go give us a like and a follow on our YouTube channel and give us a comment. Tell us how we're doing. Tell us how great these episodes are. And go follow us on our social media. We got Facebook, facebook.com/Garden of Sports Podcast. We have Instagram, instagram.com/Garden of Sports. And we have Twitter, twitter.com/GOSPod 2021. Go give us a follow. It'll be a good time. And thank you all so much for the support. And we'll see you back here next week with a fresh new episode.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.